Hey, fellow babies, welcome back to Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. We hope you're watching as a Patreon patron. If you are, thank you very much. Or as a YouTube subscriber, also thank you very much. Even if you're doing those two things, or especially if you're not, would you please consider linking your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account? It's pretty easy, and all you have to do is read the instructions right below the screen. It tells you how to do it. It's a one-click kind of link through. You have to do it every month or so if you haven't done it in a while, please try to remember to do it again. It's the only way we get paid other than direct contributions. And again, I don't get paid, but the only way Shane gets paid so he can afford the gas, which is over $5 a gallon in California, to come out and see me. So again, please try to remember to do that. It's super, super easy. It's very much appreciated if you can do that. I measure my success based on the number of Twitch Prime linkages. So please, let's see that spike up this month. I'd appreciate it.
This episode of Pachter Factor is brought to you by DeShazer Ryan Realty. Right now, Doug DeShazer has beautiful lots available adjacent to Koocanusa Lake in northwest Montana. Pull up your RV and access the hookups, or build your own construction. Either way, you have access to world-class fishing, hunting, boating, swimming, biking, hiking, and the internet. No matter where you're looking to buy, make Doug DeShazer your real estate consultant at 406-291-1643. That's Doug DeShazer at 406-291-1643.
Hey, fellow babies. Today's question from Sifted from Derek D111. Hi, Mr. Pachter. Hi, Mr. Derek D. Do you think Phil Spencer's time is up? Do you think he is actually in charge, or are most of the big decisions made by people above him? Wow. You may not have ever worked for a big corporation. I had an experience when I was 26 or 7 or something, and the CFO at the company I worked for, who just died, really a wonderful guy, he called me into his office and was screaming at me about something, and when he was done, he said, "I'm really sorry I yelled at you," but he goes, "I think you work for me and you got to answer to me," and I'm kind of reinforcing that. He goes, "I think you think I don't have a boss," and he goes, "But I work for the CEO. And I think you think he doesn't have a boss, but he works for the board of directors. And I think you think they don't have a boss, but they work for the shareholders." So he goes, "Just keep in mind, everybody has a boss." So to answer your question, yes, Phil Spencer has a boss, Satya Nadella. And I think Phil is part of the overall management team at Microsoft, and he is definitely part of that, is responsible to the boss and responsible to the board and responsible to shareholders to deliver a consolidated profit at Microsoft. And the fact is that Xbox is less profitable now than it was 5 years ago, just period. They are selling fewer consoles. They are selling less software. They are collecting fewer royalties on other people's games. They're just not as profitable. Now, obviously, they just added all the Activision profits, so that will make up for it. But they paid $70 billion for the privilege. So, as far as return on investment, they're doing worse than they did 5 years ago. That is not because Phil sucks. That is because somebody above him, Satya Nadella and the board, have decided they're committed to the games business. And by committed to the games business, I do not mean committed to video games. I mean committed to making money off of video games. So the big decisions, shutting down studios, yes, that's coming from above him. I don't think that Satya Nadella said, close Tango or close Arcade Austin. I don't think Satya Nadella even knows which studios are which. I think Phil was told find $500 million of profit or cost cutting and just do it, whatever. And I made that number up. I have no idea what the number is. And so, yeah, I think that decisions are being made, and I think that the employee has a choice of pushing back and taking heat and saying no and being fired possibly if the boss is a mercurial jerk, or saying yes, the safe route, and just making big decisions that are unpopular with gamers. I think I'd rather see Phil stand up, and I think Phil has enough money in the bank he can afford to, and I think he's accomplished enough that he would be respected if he did push back. But to be honest, Microsoft's a giant corporation, and nobody rises up in a giant corporation without paying, respect to the boss. So yeah, it's coming from above. Is his time up? I don't think so. Phil's probably late 50s. It's probably 57 or 8. Sarah Bond's probably 45. She'll be a great lead for Xbox. Will Phil retire by 65? Probably. Will he retire at 60? Maybe. I think the high-class problem Microsoft has is they got some good people working there. And as long as they're not firing Todd Howard, or Mark Lamia, as long as you're not firing Mark Lamia or Todd Howard, you're probably okay. You're probably going to get good content out. I have a problem with them. I haven't heard that Harvey Smith left, but I'm sure he's leaving. That guy's great. Like, that's a big loss. You can't. And one of my criticisms of Electronic Arts a few years ago was they let Jade Raymond and Amy Hennig leave, and they Patrick Soderlund leave. Like, what is wrong with them? But then right around then they brought Vince Zampella in. Was that an equal trade? No, but Vince is great. At least they start to build back some good people. So Microsoft, can't afford to lose too many Harvey Smiths. They've got to rebuild, and I think that they will. They really, other than Harvey, I don't think they've lost many good people out of their various acquisitions. Fergus Urquhart's still there. He's great. So I think they're fine. Rod Ferguson left, but went to Activision, then came back as part of the Blizzard team. I think they have some pretty good people, and I'm hopeful that this is a hiccup, but I think that maybe the backlash is enough to arm Phil with a message to his boss. I can't do it anymore. Like, no more layoffs. Let's just tough it out. So I do think he's in charge, but I think that if a boss tells you to cut costs, you say yes, sir. How much? Jump. How high? I think that's what happened. I think they have a profit plan, and I think that part of the profit plan is Game Pass growth. Look, I think anybody that thinks Game Pass is going to go from 34 million to 200 million subscribers in a year is crazy. And if they think each time we add a game, we'll add 1%, so we need to add 100 games to add 100%, that's more reasonable. And I think that, just depending on how they're looking at it, you're going to see growth. I think modest growth is in their cards, and I think no growth is not. Phil would be fired if Game Pass went down. If they launch Call of Duty and Game Pass subscriptions go down, he would get fired. But I don't think that's possible. I mean, as I said in a prior episode, I think they had at least 3 million people from offering a streaming option. And I think Call of Duty catalog adds another 5 or 7 or 10 million people. I think they can start adding a lot of bodies if they start adding a lot of content. So we'll see. The success of Game Pass, they've made that bet. That the Activision purchase was for that. They've made that bet. So if Game Pass works, Phil's golden. He's going to retire wealthy. Now keep in mind, Jim Ryan lasted all this time, and please don't tell me he did a phenomenal job at Sony. And he was fine. So if Jim Ryan didn't get fired, Microsoft would be foolish to fire Phil. Now, flip side of that is if Sarah Bond becomes the replacement, she's great, and maybe they just really like her and they put all of their confidence in her. So, you just never really know. But I think, if anything, Phil's more likely to get lifted up, elevated at Microsoft than eliminated. So, thank you for joining us on Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. Special thanks to our Patreon patrons and our YouTube subscribers. And I really do want to call out all of you who took the time and made the effort to link your Twitch Prime accounts to your Amazon Prime account. You managed to take money out of Amazon's pocket and give it to Shane. And that matters. Shane was complaining to me about the cost of gas. He had to borrow $5 so he could get enough gas to get home. Please link your Twitch Prime account. It's not that hard to your Amazon Prime account. Look at the show description below, and it tells you how to do it. Again, it's a couple of clicks and you're done. Got to do it every month or so. So please, as soon as you click this off, go do it. Please, please, please. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.